And we're live. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining another Lodgify webinar. It's great to see already so many people that are ready for it in the chat, in the comments. I'm really happy about the topic that we're going to cover today. Sometimes when we look at the main pain points of vacation rental hosts and property managers, direct booking is one of them. You know, how can I make more money from my direct bookings and reduce the dependency that I have from OTAs, which in the end, we all know they're great platforms for visibility, but they also take a big chunk of your money. And that's something that ideally we want to avoid. So, to talk about this, we have an amazing speaker today, which is Mark Simpson. He's not only a great expert on direct bookings, but also, if I can say, Mark, I think you're also a great showman that knows how to entertain an audience. So, we only have 1 hour today, but I'm sure people will be wanting more after this. So, let's make at least the best out of this. So, thank you, Mark, again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, like I was mentioning, Mark will have he will present himself in a couple of minutes. So, the topic of today is a strategy of 6 easy steps to increase your direct bookings and make sure they make up to 65% of the total of your reservations. In other words, how to maximize your profits. I hope everyone can hear me properly. Going to the question of Moritz, yes, this will be recorded and shared. We will send it to your email, the one that you registered to this webinar tomorrow. So tomorrow you will be accessing this presentation and this recording. So before we begin, just some housekeeping for the webinar. First, we cannot hear you, but we can not see you either. We can actually see what you're saying in the chat. Actually, there's like dozens of comments already. That's great. We love that. So please keep that coming. And in case you cannot hear us, that sometimes can happen, you'll see that there's like a blue CTA. If you cannot hear me, you probably cannot hear what I'm saying right now. But if you can read what is on the screen, you'll see that this blue CTA that says tap to unmute sound. That usually fixes the issue. And if it doesn't happen or doesn't show up, just refresh the page and it should show up without a problem. And going back to what I said before, yes, this will be recorded and will be sent out to all of you tomorrow. So just covering quickly the structure of the webinar, I'm gonna do a like super quick introduction about Lodgify. I saw that a lot of people already mentioned in the comments that you're already Lodgify customers. That's great, but also a lot of people are maybe not customers, or it's even the first time that they hear about us. So quickly, who we are, and oh my God, I almost forgot to introduce myself, but that's kind of like a rookie mistake. My name is Alberto Fernandez, and I'm the regional marketing director here at Lodgify. So nice to meet you all. Then after this, I will let Mark take the stage as he will present, like I mentioned, this strategy to increase your direct bookings and maximize your profits. And at the end, we will try to leave around 15-20 minutes for Q&A. So please make sure that if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and we'll answer as many as we can at the end of the session. So again, like I said, really quickly, because I don't want to make this a promotional webinar, but for those of you that don't know us, what is Lodgify? We're a vacation rental management software that basically we help your business manage and automate and grow your short-term rental business. So basically, we help you maximize the potential of your property and take full control of your business. What does it mean? Well, this is kind of like a full picture of the Logify ecosystem, and I think a specific part that I will detail after this can be especially useful for the purpose of this session, which is your bookable website. So, as part of our features and our offerings, we have a bookable website option, like a website builder, to get your own direct booking website, which eventually is going to be essential to get those direct bookings coming in. If you already have a website, no worries, you can also embed our booking widget and still access to our PMS to manage all those reservations. We're also connected to Google Vacation Rentals that, in case that you don't know, I guess by now everyone knows, but it's like kind of like an OTA from Google that is not really an OTA because most of the bookings can be done directly, so you don't actually have to pay a commission. And again, we also connected with an API with all the main OTAs. So you can manage all your reservations, calendars, bookings, guest messages, all from your channel manager directly from Notify. As of PMS, there's this unified calendar, unified inbox. You can also automate messages and create custom templates for your guests. And as well, you can use our AI assistant to help you craft all of these conversations. There are also some other advanced property management features like reporting, task management, and the guest app. And again, we also connect with a lot of third-party apps in case you don't have, there's something that you want to connect to that we are not offering at the moment, then there's probably a third-party app that we connect with that you can connect to. And like I was saying, one of the key features of Lodgify, especially for the purpose of this presentation, is going to be our direct booking website. We've been pioneers, I would say, in the industry. We've been doing this for more than 12 years. And the direct booking website has always been one of our main strengths. So with Lodgify, you can easily create your own direct booking website to increase your visibility, build your brand, and start driving those commission-free direct bookings that in the end is what the reason why we all are here today. So this is the last thing that I will mention. This is a new feature that we released recently, smart locks. So if you're managing you have multiple smart locks, you can now manage them as well from Logify, from our management for smart lock functionality. Again, we will send all this information. If you're interested, you can try Logify for free. We have a free trial for 7 days. Here's the link. I will also leave it after I stop talking. I will leave it in the comments. So you can try it. And I see there are also some comments and questions about Logify. I will also reply all of them. And the last thing, I promise we have another webinar coming up in this case next week, which is about short-term rental taxes specifically for the US. So if you have properties in the US and tax season is coming up, you want to know how to manage your taxes to make sure you're stay compliant, you can either scan the QR code that you see on the screen. We're partnering with Share Economy Tax, which are experts in tax consultancy for short-term rentals, but I will also leave the link in the comment section below. So I said about 5 minutes, maybe a minute over time, but I hope that was I didn't make it too long. And now, without further ado, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And Mark, the floor is yours. Just give me
Thank
a
you very
second.
much.
There you go. You should
Oh,
be able
good.
to present now.
Right, I'm going to share my slide here as well. Okay, everybody, welcome and thank you, Alberto. That was a lovely little introduction. I've been checking the chat, which has been great, and like Lucas, like Alberto, like Luca, and everybody who's in the chat has been joining in. I would like to say that when I do these webinars, when I do these presentations and these sort of educational sessions, I do like for them to be as interactive as possible, because I can now see 200 people in the chat, but I want to find out more about you, which really helps me navigate how these 45 minutes are going to look. So the title and the topic is the 6 steps to help you to get to 65% direct bookings. But every single one of you in here will be ranging from 0% direct bookings right now to maybe 100%. So what I would like for you to do, as long as it's safe for you to do so, please make sure if you're driving, don't try and do this. But if you can, what I'd love for you to do is to get into the chat. And what I would like, first and foremost, is just say hi, which I can see loads of people, Leanne and Nicola and George, which is great. But what I want for you to do next is to let me know what a percentage scale. So how many bookings in the last year, so the last year of your operations, have been direct? It's either 0 or it's 100% or anywhere in between. The number doesn't matter. I just need to see a gauge of where we're at and how I can help you best over these next 45 minutes. So it's either 0%, 1%, 50%, 100%. I just need to get that sort of number where we're at. Debbie from the Boathouse in Scarborough. So, as you can tell from this accent, Debbie, I am from Yorkshire, and I was actually born and raised in Scarborough, a little town in the northeast of England. I've been involved in hospitality since the day I was born. I'm one of these rare breeds. I was born into hospitality. I've tried my best to escape it over the years, but it keeps dragging me back in. In 2016, I created this business called Boostly, and the sole goal and the sole mission that I am on is to help as many hosts as possible have the tools, the tactics, the training, but most importantly, the confidence to increase their direct bookings, to grow their business without relying on Airbnb, Booking.com, Verbo, Google, or any third party. And I know this works because I've seen it so many times. We've coached over 2,000 hospitality brands all over the world. Whether you've got one property, whether you've got 100 properties, whether you've got a hotel, a guest house, a glamping hut, or whether you've got vacation rentals, or whatever your niche is, we're able to help. And in this session, in this sort of 45 minutes that we have, what I want to do is I want to walk you through these 6 steps. Obviously, I can't go deep dive on this because if I go deep dive on each one of these, we'll be here until tomorrow. And obviously, everybody's got places to go to after this. But what I promise is this will be recorded. as Alberto mentioned, it will get sent out. But what I want for you to do is to write down this Instagram handle. Okay. This Instagram handle is Boostly UK, Boostly. And what I'd like for you to do is to go and follow Boostly UK on Instagram. Okay. And you feel free after this to send me a message any point, anytime. So if somebody could please do me a massive favor in the chat box, is just write down Boostly UK. Everybody write it down. It's an Instagram.com/Boostly UK. Make sure you make a note of it. If you need help or advice, look at the screen now, look to your left, and I've got the handles and everything that you can keep in touch with us. Okay, now before I get into these tips, it's really important that I give you the reason why we do this. On the screen now, if you can please look there, this is a prediction. So the prediction is by 2030, 80% of every booking that happens in our industry will be via an OTA. So for every 10 bookings that happen in the industry, 8 of them will be via an OTA. And this is something that we can't happen. And the example that I want to give to you is the book industry, otherwise known as Amazon. So 3 years ago, I was very fortunate. An OTA is online travel agent, AKA Airbnb, AKA Verbo, AKA booking.com. Okay. 3 years ago, I was very fortunate to write and publish my first book, which is here. It's called The Book Direct Playbook. If anybody has ever bought it or read it, please leave the word book in the chat. Okay. It's sold over 200,000 copies. It's one of the best things that I've ever done. People still message me to the day saying that they are reading it, which is awesome. And I really, really appreciate it. But when I came to publish this book, I had to put it on Amazon. I couldn't do it any other way. I couldn't do it directly. I haven't got a printing press behind me. Behind my wall here is a 2-year-old's bedroom. Okay. So I had to put it on Amazon. And the scary thing is that for every book that I sell, for every dollar that I make, I have to give Amazon 66 cents. So they charge 66% commission for everything. And the even crazier thing is I don't get a name or an email address or a phone number or anybody who purchases it. Now, my worry is that with the online travel agents, otherwise known as Airbnb, my worry is right now with Airbnb, for example, with every booking that comes in, and I can give you an example in a second, depending on the model that you're with on Airbnb, you either pay 3% commission or you pay 14% commission. Now, at the moment, that is where they are. Obviously, booking.com charge 15% and it raises, and Verbos charge the same and they raises. But then my next slide is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. So if I click on this, hopefully I go to the next one. So you should be able to see on your screen now that in 2024, in the short-term rental industry, so this is not including hotels or anything like that, 62% of all short-term rental bookings were made via Airbnb. Now, back in 2017, that number was 15%, 1-5. So not only in a short space of time have they caught up with Booking.com, the Expedia group, they've overtaken them. And they are on track to dominate this industry. Now, my worry is that by, let's just say, the end of this year or the end of next year, they will be able to monopolize this industry to a point where at any time they can go, okay, Airbnb hosts, we're going to scrap this 3% commission model and we're going to just move everybody to a flat rate of 14%, which could happen at any time. And then what's stopping them going 14%? Well, hang on a second. We feel that this relationship isn't fair. Let's make it 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. And they can do that when they dominate and they dictate this industry, just like Amazon with books. Now, think about that with your business. Okay. So if all of a sudden, for every booking that's coming in, you're having to give 20%, 30%, 40% in fees, that starts to get a little bit worrying. Now, even if that doesn't happen, the image on this screen should definitely relate to a lot of people. This movie is the Avengers movie, and that bad guy is Thanos. Now, if you've ever watched the movie, you'll know there's a point in the Avengers movie where he clicks his fingers and 50% of the whole universe's population disappears. And the reason why I've put the Airbnb logo on that is that at any point, at any time, Airbnb have the power to click their fingers and 50% or all of your revenue could disappear. Unfortunately, all you have to do is go into the Facebook groups and you will see that there's a rise of listings that are being suspended for very innocent reasons. Airbnb is built to serve its shareholders and their guests. The hosts, unfortunately, which is you all, you're at the back of the pile of their responsibilities and their priorities. Now, I'm not slating Airbnb. That is their business model. They've done such a fantastic job to get into this position, and they obviously have to look after their guests and their shareholders. But my worry is that at any point in any time, if you are over 50% reliant on your bookings coming in from any third party, then you are at the mercy of the Thanos snap. Okay. And this is why I do what I do. Now, the bad news is that if you are in a position where over 50% of your bookings are coming from third parties, unfortunately, it's your fault. Okay. But bear with me. It is also your responsibility to get back on track. Now, unfortunately, in this industry, there's not many people that can give you good advice on how to increase your direct bookings. We are very lucky in this industry that at any point in any time, you can list a business on one of these free websites. And depending on the market, depending on the time of the year, you can pretty much be guaranteed to bring in revenue. That is the beauty of the online travel agents. That's the beauty of this industry. Okay. Now, the worrisome thing apart from that is that because it is so easy to get revenue coming in from Airbnb, Booking.com, Verbo, you name it, it's very easy to become over reliant on these platforms. Okay. And I see it all over the world with all the people that I've coached and all the people that I've done webinars for, and everybody who messaged me with this book. Now, what I want to do is I want to give you a 6-step roadmap where you can be on your way to get to 65% direct bookings or more. Okay. The reason why 65%, that is just a number that's over 50%, because at the end of the day, if you were to spread out your bookings into buckets, if you've got 65% that are coming in directly to you, you are in a much better financial position. And that also means as well, if the Airbnb bucket is say 20%, let's just say the booking.com bucket is 20%, you've got 15%, and you've got 65% coming direct. If Airbnb snap their finger and that listing disappears, your account disappears for whatever reason, or let's just say bookings just stop coming from Airbnb, you're not panicking because you've got obviously booking.com, you've got Expedia, but you've got direct as well. Now, if you were right now to have your business at 65% direct bookings, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, as in, I don't want to do this, to 10, I would love to do this, how happy would you be with your business right now if you can get to 65% direct bookings? 1 being low, 10 being high. There are 211 people in this room. I would love to see 211 10s, please, right now. As many as possible. 11. Okay, Luca, you win. Okay. That's what I like to hear. Now, please get your pens and papers ready. We will do questions at the end. Also, if you look at this Crowdcast platform, which is phenomenal, by the way, if you look to the right of it, you'll see that there's a box that says Q&A. Okay, you can ask and put your questions in there. We'll go through as many as possible. We have said it's a hard stop on the hour, but I want to make sure I give as much value as possible. So I want to make sure that we answer as many as possible. But like I said, if needs be, if your question doesn't get answered today, please message me on Instagram, which is @BoostlyUK. And if you look at the left of the screen, you've got all the handles, everything, and where to get hold of me. Okay.
Also, Mark, sorry to cut you, but if we need to stay like a few more minutes because of there's so many questions. I mean, if that's okay with you, you can also extend it
That's
for a
okay.
bit. Yeah.
All that I have to do after this webinar is get my 2-year-old baby to bed. So we are good. Okay. Now, if you are ready to begin, if you are ready to learn, if you are excited to learn, I just need for you to put a hell yeah in the chat. Just give me 1, 2 words, hell yeah in the chat, and then we can get going. If I can see at least 10 hell yeahs in the chat, there's 213 people tuning in right now, then I am ready to go. So very quick, I've said a lot of things there. The book was called The Book Direct Playbook. The Instagram account is at Boostly UK. And what I've got is I've got some really cool giveaways to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. There's 1,033 people who registered for this, which is bananas. 216 of you have tuned in live, taken time out of your day. If you stick till the end, I've got some extra giveaways to give you just to say thank you. But let's get started. Okay, so the first tip, 1 of 6. And this, out of all the 6, I think this is probably going to be the most important, is know your guest. Okay. In marketing terms, you'll hear fancy people saying things like the ideal avatar, your ideal guest, your ideal client. Okay. But the main mistake that I see people make, and I've reviewed thousands of properties, I've spoke to lots and lots of people, is that when it comes to their business and I say to them, who is your ideal guest? The response back is whoever will pay me money. Okay. Unfortunately, when you appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody. Okay. And for some of you, you may clearly know who your ideal guest is. So the ideal guest is who is that person that you want to walk through the door of your property or properties, right? You should be able to picture them. You should be able to envision them right now. Okay. Whether it is a solo traveler, a couple, whether it is a family, whether it is a large group, whether it is bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, whether it is, you name it, you should be able to know them inside out and backwards. Okay. And when it comes to identifying your guest, okay, it really depends on a couple of factors. So, number one, who is the type of person who is coming to where your location is? So let's just set an example. Somebody let me know in the chat where they're based in the world or where one of their properties is based in the world. Just give me a town, a city, a location. Let's do like a little role play. Whoever's the first one, that's the first one I see. Hawaii. Fantastic. Okay. So Hawaii. So first and foremost, who is the common type of traveler that will come to Hawaii? Okay. So that's number one. Number two, you then have got to envision what or who, sorry, is your property best suited for. Okay. So let's just say in Hawaii, your property is a stone throw from the beach. Okay. And we know that there are people that will come to your island that are only wanting to do one thing and one thing only, and that is surf. Okay. So they're packing their surfboards, they're bringing them on the plane, they're coming to you because they want to surf, right? Your property is literally a stone throw from the beach, a stone throw from the best surf in all of the world. Okay. So the majority of people who are coming to your island is for surf. B, your property is designed for surfers. So just as an example, you could have surf racks on the decking of your property. You could have that sex wax that they all buff the boards up with. You could provide that for free, right? You could have the on the fridge, you could have the latest swill, right? That's going to be happening in the sea that day. I know nothing about surfing. I'm making up words. I hope it makes sense, right? And so number one, who is coming to your area? Number two, who is your property best suited for? And number three is where do they hang out? Not physically, or you could do physically, but virtually, where do they hang out? Okay. Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Are they in Facebook groups? Are they on LinkedIn? Could they be part of a surf organization where there's a magazine that gets sent to them every month? You know, there are niches for every kind. And we can't just throw a blanket over them and just say, this is where they are. So it definitely relies you taking a little bit of time to do this. Now, in the book Direct Playbook, there's a whole chapter on this, and I go through it step by step. I give you actionable advice on how to do it. But the first thing that you need to do to really understand how to start beyond your journey to 65% direct bookings is knowing your guest. Now, this is where I throw the question to you. Do you know your ideal guest inside out? List it out, write it out, type it out. Who is your ideal guest? You don't have to go deep. You can just be a little bit vague, but who is your ideal guest? List it out below. Fantastic. Okay, so some of them do, some of them don't. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is kill your darlings. Now, let me explain very quickly what this means. Now, I've got another question for everybody. So as you're typing, what is the model that you run in your business? So do you do subleasing, otherwise known as arbitrage, rent to rent? Do you do the management model? Do you do owner-led, where you own the property and you have guests coming in? What is the model that you do? So is it arbitrage, subleasing, whatever you want to call it, rent to rent? They call it different things all over the world. Do you do the management model where you look after other people's property and you charge them a commission, or do you own it? Or do you do a mix? Okay. Now, the next question is, how many properties do you have? So do you have 1? Do you have 2? Do you have 10? Do you have 50, 100? How many do you have? Okay, so the reason why we do this exercise, if you've got 1 property, figuring out who your ideal guest, super simple, really easy. For those of you that have got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 120 or even more, it's going to be tricky because you're going to have different people drop into different buckets. Now, the reason why I have Kill Your Darlings, the people that I'm speaking to the most here are the people that do management model and the ones that do arbitrage, but particularly to the management. Because the way that your business runs, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that you'll start off by having 1 property and you do a really good job. And because you're doing a really good job, a friend of a friend tells their friend, oh, Teresa is really good at this Airbnb lark. You want to rent out your property and you want to put it on Airbnb, go speak to Teresa, right? That's generally how it works. And then what happens is you do a good job for Teresa, and then Teresa recommends you to her friend recommends to her friend. Before you know it, you've got 10 properties that you've just said yes to, because when you're starting in this game, you just say yes to everything and everybody, right? But in the long term and in the long run for your business, saying yes to everybody is actually detrimental to your growth. And truly speaking, as you grow and as you get to property number 16, number 8, number whatever, you want to be able to build a business and a brand. So when somebody goes, hey, I'm going to Hawaii, I need a place for my surfboards and my surfer buddies, they go, you. My biggest thing that I want to teach you in this whole 45 minutes that we have together is that you want to bury yourself so far down in a niche, there's room for nobody else. Okay. And what that means is that, let's just say you've got 6 properties. 5 of them right now, you can go, all 5 of them are catered for this demographic. My ideal guest of families, 5 of them are fantastic. They have at least 4 bedrooms. They're safe, they're secure, secured parking. The people who come to my area, they're all families. But then there's that one property that is not part of this brand. It's a 1-bed apartment. The owner's a pain in the ass. I really could do with getting rid of it, but you're scared. But my one advice, if you really want to truly scale and grow and get to that 65% direct bookings and even further, scale, grow, and potentially exit one day, you need to kill your darlings. As in, you need to have that tough conversation with that one property that doesn't fit the brand, doesn't fit the business, who just you don't like having, right? And you may be somebody in this room. I mean, we've got 217. I guarantee this has happened to somebody at some part where you've had to have this conversation. You've had to say, goodbye. And for those of you that own, and you may own 4 of them, this may be the same for you. You may have 3 properties that you've bought that are just absolutely fit this niche that we keep talking about, but there's that one that just doesn't make sense. Now, if that is you, again, just put your hand up, just say yes, hit a couple of emoji buttons. Let me know. Again, this is truly, if you want to grow, this is the thing that you're going to need to do. And if there's nobody that says it in here, then that just means they're a little bit too shy to do so. Oh, Chanel. Thank you, Chanel. Okay, so next tip. And we're at tip number 3. So we are sort of chugging through these pretty quickly. Okay, kill 2. Okay, Heige. If anybody's just joining the webinar now and they see kill 2, they're going to think this is a totally different webinar than what we normally do here at Lodgify. Daniela, hola. Okay, becoming the go-to. Now, I'm so glad Daniela has jumped in here, because she is probably the epitome of becoming the go-to right now. And this is where everybody should be gearing to be and gearing to become. Now, once you have identified who your ideal guest is, once you've identified which niche your business is best geared towards, then you've got to become the go-to. Now, what the go-to means is pretty simple. If you were to go on pretty much any Facebook group, and if you were to ask a question, who would you recommend to go to for direct bookings? I guarantee out of 10 people, at least 2 or 3 would mention Boostly and Mark Simpson. I have become the go-to of direct bookings over the last 10 years of me showing up and doing education, releasing books, speaking on stages, all the things that we do. You got to bring that into your own world. And in fact, when I was in hospitality, I did this exact same tactic in Scarborough, which is where I was born and where our family business was. I did this exact same tactic, and I want to teach you how to do it. So once you've discovered what your niche is, what I want for you to do is I want for you to figure out how you can become the go-to. Now, our niche at the family business was families. We had a 200-acre working farm. We had a 14-bedroom boutique hotel, and we had 4 holiday cottages, sorry. And what I did was I identified that there were 3 to 4 Facebook groups, as an example, where there was about 20,000 people in these groups. They were local based. They weren't necessarily holiday makers looking for places to stay, but it was more local groups, and it was really engaged. Now, all that I did was I joined these 4 groups, and I would just spend 5 to 10 minutes every day on my phone, just when it was a quiet time in the business, or, if we were watching TV later, me and the wife, and it was the advert break, I would jump in and have a quick check. And when I was in the check in these groups, I wasn't just doom scrolling and wasting my time. What I was doing is I was engaging. And the important thing is, I wasn't trying to sell the family business. I wasn't trying to promote the granary. What I was doing is I was helping and giving advice. So if somebody was asking a question, I would jump in and help and give them an answer. I would do that every day, right? For 5 minutes. It literally took me 15, 20 minutes max. So I'm not asking you to spend 4 or 5 hours doing this. It's just a simple little exercise. Jump in these groups. And I wasn't doing it in 15 or 20. I just identified 4 groups. And what happened was, over time, because I just turned up and gave help and advice, and I wasn't trying to sell, and I wasn't asking for anything back, people started to click on my profile. And when they clicked on my Facebook profile, it obviously opens up my Facebook my Facebook page, and they could see that I was the manager of the granary, and they could see it was tea rooms, and they could see it was a hotel and accommodation. And over time, what happened was that people would come into that group and they would go, "Oh, my sister or my family or my friends are coming into town for a weekend and looking for a place to stay. Where would you recommend?" And what would happen is people would start to mention me because I was the go-to. They knew me as the guy who had this family business. And by simply showing up for free, just giving help and advice time and time again, I was starting to become the go-to. Now, you can take that Facebook example and run the play yourself, or you could do other things. So, for example, you could start hosting a meetup in your town or your city or your area. You could start attending local BNI meetings, Business Network Institute. They're the ones that they're every Friday. They're normally in a hotel room, and there's normally local business owners that attend. And the cool thing about BNI is that there's a no um, competition clause. So if you're the hospitality person who goes to these BNI meetings, there's no anybody else there. And you can get to know people every week. And again, the best people to get to know are business people, because I guarantee you the business world is so incestuous that they will know somebody who's coming to the area for work. And again, because you're showing up, showing your face, becoming the go-to, they will recommend you. Now, that's just two examples. In the book Direct Playbook, I show you way more examples of how to become the go-to. But the one thing that I would implore you to do is start looking out there, look for groups, maybe look for ones around your niche, maybe look for ones around your area, but try and find those places where you can become that go-to person. So when somebody in your town, your city, your area, your niche asks that question, hey, I'm looking to come to X, who do you recommend? You're the ones who come out first. Now, before we move on to the next one, does that make sense? So we've done these tips so far. Who has been paying attention? Who has been writing them down? Can you list off the first few tips that we have done? Whoever does it first, whoever lists off the tips, you get a gold star. So we've had, what was the number one? Obviously, everybody's been jotting them down so much that they've forgotten them. We've got to go back. And number one, Debbie, know your guest. Well done. Kill your darlings. Become the go-to. Fantastic. Well done. Okay, next up is your tech stack. Now, obviously, if you are going to grow and if you are going to scale your business, you need to have a tech stack behind you. Now, one of the most important things that every host needs to have, and I talk about this a lot. It's probably one of the first things that I recommend everybody do. And the good thing about doing this webinar with a company like Lodgify is it just makes it easier, is having a PMS solution. Okay. So I know there's a lot of Lodgify customers in here. I know there's a lot of people thinking about joining. If you haven't got a PMS, go and get yourself one, because it makes your life so much easier. Because the problem with so many Airbnb hosts is that when they get started, they just have that one property, that one listing. I'll just put it on Airbnb. I'm fine. And then obviously, when you have just one listing, and if the bookings aren't coming in, and I'll explain what tech stack is in a minute, Vicky, is that you go, I'm going to go on Verbo, but when I don't want double bookings, so I'm just going to connect my Verbo account to my Airbnb account. So what you're doing is you're literally building everything on this Airbnb land, right? And that's a risk. So to prevent that is you have a PMS. Everything will connect to your property management software tool, which is Lodgify. Okay. Everything will connect into there, because when you've got Lodgify, then you can go and add payment gateway. So you can take Stripe payments. You can go obviously get yourself a website. You can do all of the cool things, insurance, guest verification, etc., etc., etc. Tech stack is basically the tools in your business that help you run it. Okay. That is a tech stack. A PMS is property management software tool, otherwise known as PMS, right? Property management software tool, which is Lodgify. Now, you don't just stop, obviously, at a PMS. Then there's loads of other tools that you can attach and you can bring into it. But by having a good tech stack, it just means that you have got the power and the toolkit behind you. Now, this is where I throw the questions to everybody in here. What are the tools that you are using in your business? So who is your PMS? Are you using TouchStay? Are you using BreezeWave? Are you using Turno? Are you using Happy Guest Official? What's the messaging tool you're using? What's the AI assistant tool you're using? It doesn't matter if you have got one thing or if you've got 10 things. The reason why I asked this question is everybody who attends these webinars, there's always a new tool, a tip, or a technology that they can learn from by having other hosts let them know which tools they're using. We produce a podcast every Monday that's called the Boostly Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It's absolutely free. It drops in your inbox at 3 p.m. every Monday. It's on YouTube and Spotify and everywhere. One of the series that we do is a series called Behind the Guest or Behind the Host. And that is where we've interviewed over 300 people now. And it's the question that we ask is the tech stack, because so many people learn loads from it. So Price Labs, let me just mention. So Lodgify, MailChimp, WordPress, ChatGPT, Stripe, Price Labs, Wheelhouse, Lodgify and Pulse. We've got Facebook and Google aren't a tech stack, but so. Furnish Finder isn't one that's like a listing site, but Lodgify is goated. I mean, obviously, we've got a lot of Lodgify fans in here. MailChimp, cool. So the tech stack is very, very important. Okay, so make sure you're writing that down. Now, the next one is very important. And so, elephant in the room, what Boostly does is that we create websites that turn lookers into bookers. And I know Lodgify have got a very good website builder, but as any PMS will admit, their website builder is very basic. It's just there, it connects up, great, but it's not designed to be all singing, all dancing, all working. What we do at Boostly is for anybody who is with Lodgify, who wants a website that is built on WordPress, which is obviously very important for if you want to be visible on Google, which is SEO. We have that website where it is a bit more fancier, should we just say. And what's really important with your website, and again, we've built over 2,000 of these, and we've got a framework that works. And one of the things that I do regularly is I got a thing called Roast Your Website. So I got a series on YouTube where we look at people's websites and we gently roast them. And one of the things that I'm always looking for with a website is you've got to be able to explain these very simple things to a guest who is landing on your website, a future potential guest. So this is not somebody that's already booked with you. This is somebody who is wanting to book with you. Okay. So you've got to be able to answer who you are, what you do, how can I give you money? Now, if we go back to tip number 1, which is know your guest, obviously you will be able to speak directly to your ideal guest. So the main image that you use, the copy that you put on your website will speak directly to your guest. Everything becomes easier when you know this. So you have to be able to clearly say who you are, what you do, here's how you book. And you will be amazed at how many people who have a website where it isn't clear where the book now button is. They try and create this Mona Lisa of websites, and it's not clear on how they can give them money or give them a booking. So again, if you were to look at your website today, and if you've got a domain, if you've got a www address, please put it in the chat so people can go and have a look, and you can maybe have a look at your site. Make sure that when you open it up, there's a test that is called the grunt test, where if you were to show a caveman your website, they should be able to grunt what you do. Now, if you want to, obviously we can't go around and find cavemans, but if you were to try this test, I guarantee you would get so much from it. Go to a coffee shop tomorrow, take your laptop or your phone with you, sit down, order a coffee, order a tea, or wherever you drink, and turn to the person to your left or turn to the person on your right. Pull up your website and just say, listen, excuse me, this is going to sound a bit crazy, but can you just quickly tell me what it is that I do? Right. And if you can have a stranger look at you and go, oh, this is what you do, bingo, you've boxed it. And if you want to go a little bit further, just say, can you just try and make a booking? Because you're not going to get a booking, obviously, but you want to just see the flow of how strangers use your website. Because when you design your own website, you are so ingrained in the process, it's sometimes hard to see from the other person's perspective. So again, please try and walk in somebody else's shoes. Try and make the booking. And again, if you haven't got if you've got a WordPress website and if you haven't got a very good booking process, then again, all of the time and effort is just wasted. So one of the things that we do at Boostly is that we've got the integration into Lodgify, so that when you're going through the booking process from the homepage to the search to the listing to the booking, it's very smooth. Okay. And it doesn't matter which PMS you're with, we integrate with 27 of them. And we've built this time and time again. And again, the main thing that I give to everybody is make sure that your website is very clear on what you do. Okay. So next one down the line, and I hope you're writing these down. The next one is sales and marketing. Now, this is tip number 6. And again, I say this on every one, but this is the most important one because I've seen a lot of chat before we came online, and a lot of the chat was saying the same thing. I've got a Lodgify website, I've got a website, but I'm not getting direct bookings. And it comes back to the first thing that I said is that in this industry, we are so lucky. We are so very lucky to have free channels that we can pretty much take pictures on our phone, upload it, start a business, create a listing, and be pretty much guaranteed to get revenue, obviously, depending on market and where you're at in the world. But with that, we become over reliant and we become lazy. Now, when I started Boostly, there is no listing site for websites design that I can go and list Boostly on and be guaranteed to get revenue. I had to beg, I had to drag people by their collars to say, come and do business with us, right, as we're getting going. And unfortunately, in the world of hospitality, in the world of Airbnb, we become very reactive, as in we sit there on our phones waiting for that booking confirmation to come in. My advice is that we flip that. And every day for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, I'm not saying forever, I'm not saying 8 hours, because who's got 8 hours in the day, right? I've got 4 kids under the age of 12. I certainly haven't. But I can carve out 30 minutes every single day to do new business. And I recommend it to be the first 30 minutes. So put it in your calendar, put it in your phone, set a notification, set an alarm, whether it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever time it is, just give yourself 30 minutes. And in that 30 minutes, you are going to send that email to somebody, maybe an email blast. For those of you that are using MailChimp, can I send out an email blast to get in front of guests? Can I do a post on Facebook? Is there a message that I'm going to send? Is there that local business owner that I've wanted to connect with so we can potentially pass bookings to each other? Whatever it may be, just dedicate 30 minutes of it, picking up the phone. And for some of you, I guarantee you are thinking, oof, that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not comfortable doing that. Well, one of my finishing little quotes that I would like to give you is try and become comfortable about being uncomfortable. So when you take yourself out of the comfort zone, that's when you grow in your business. And you've all been there where you've not been comfortable, whether that is buying your first property, whether that is doing something, whatever it may be. When you become comfortable about being uncomfortable, picking up that phone, having a conversation, doing that thing, your business will grow. And if you can put that in practice for the next 365 days, I guarantee you, we will be back here and your percentage of bookings will have grown and your direct bookings will have grown. All right. Now, who can list off those 6 tips very quickly? Who can list off those 6 tips that I've just given to you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. People are still dropping in domains, which I love, by the way.
Next time we should tell them to like grab a notebook and really take notes.
Yeah, well, that was, I did have the slide. I did have the
That's true.
SpongeBob
That's
slide.
true.
Okay, so while you are doing that, remember that I said about the Boostly Instagram. Now, for everybody that's tuned in live, and this is for just those that have tuned in live, the 218 people, I've got 3 bonus tips that I couldn't fit in. I wanted to do 9, but I could only do 6 because obviously I want to be wary of your time. We're going to do questions. And as well, if you feel like I've deserved it, I just want to quickly talk about Boostly and I want to do something special for everybody. But if you want 3 bonus tips for absolutely free, all you have to do is go onto Instagram, go into Boostly UK, so Boostly, and just type in one word and one word only, webinar. What I'll do is I'll collect all of these, and we should have quite a lot, I'm thinking. And tomorrow, when I'm having my coffee, I'll just send you those 3 bonus tips. It's free tips. You'll love them. They're great. They're bonus tips. And again, they're absolutely free and the bonus. So if someone could just please put Boostly UK Instagram, and go ahead and follow Boostly on Instagram while you're doing it. I'm trying to get to 15,000 followers. So we've got 217 potential followers right here. But before we go into Q&A, Albert, if it's okay with you, what I'd very quickly like to do is just let everybody know what Boostly does and how we could potentially help, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead,
Cool.
please.
And as well, everybody in here, I'll only do this if you feel that I've deserved to do this. Is it okay if I tell you about Boostly? Just give me a yes or a no. And as long as I've got more yeses and I've got more no's, then I will do so. But let me just take a little drink first from my cup. Benjamin, absolutely smashing that one. Well done. Your website, know your guest, your tech stack. I can see everybody's very quickly messaging me on Instagram. So I'm going to take it that the silence means yes. So I'm just going to go ahead because I'm wary of time. Okay. So what does Boostly do? What do we do? Who are we? How can we help? So in 2024, our websites tracked over $100 million in direct bookings. That doesn't mean Boostly made $100 million. That means our 1,000 plus clients, our 10,000 listings, they tracked over $100 million in direct bookings. We are the go-to website and training agency out there, which is phenomenal. On average, our Boostly members, so on average, our Boostly members and our clients generate $59,000 annually through our help. So website is one part. Remember I said tools, tactics, training, confidence. So on average, our clients generate $59,000 through our help, which is fantastic. Let me go to the next one. So that is a 50 times return on investment, which is pretty cool. So how do we get there? So this is how we do it. It's not just a website. So anybody can design a website. You can go right now to Fiverr and you can get somebody, pay them $100 and they'll give you a website. That doesn't mean that it works. And I feel like so many of you may have had this in the past where a friend of a friend of a friend has said, hey, I'll do your website. But unfortunately, if they don't understand our industry inside out, if they don't know how our guests, our future potential guests are booking, it just doesn't work. So the first thing that what we do is we give you a website that is integrated into your PMS of choice. It's built on WordPress and we build it for you. So we give you a project manager, we work with you, we build it out, and they look great and they work great. You also get added in to our Facebook group, our private Facebook group, which has got over 10,000 years of experience. Which is awesome. So you get added into a community. Again, a lot of people do this by themselves. I wish I had this when I had our family business in 2011, but the community is a big part. We've got twice a week group coaching calls led by myself and one of our head coaches, Liam Carolan. He's the co-host of the podcast, phenomenal. And also as well, if you missed the group calls, we put everything into our vault, which is called the Academy, which has got over 80 hours of educational videos, which again is awesome. We teach you everything from SEO to revenue management to tax to influencers, social media, you name it. We've got over 80 hours. What we also do as well is we build for you and we give you a roadmap on how you can go through a strategic path to get to 65% bookings, direct bookings in your first year. And also as well, which is brand new, we've got a CRM, which is fancy marketing talk for customer relationship manager, AKA emails, SMS, social media. We have a tool that will do all of that for you now. So again, it's just giving you all the tools to make sure that you can get to more direct bookings. And we've even created email templates. So a lot of you use email. A lot of you are not very good at writing email or don't know where to start. We've created email templates that you just have to copy, paste, and send. And a brand new feature that we've just installed is AI sales reps, which is awesome. So on every website, we have a live chat box. Obviously, you can manually reply back to guests when they send you a message on your website. If you're asleep, 1 o'clock in the morning, we've got AI sales bots that will take over that chat and they will do it for you. And that is all built in, which is really cool. And they're driving a lot of revenue. So as I said, there's a lot of people who say they can help get you more bookings. There's a lot of people who say that they can get you a website. There's a lot of people who say that they will help generate you more profit, but we actually promise it. And my vow is to give you the tools, the tactics, and the training to be at least 65% direct bookings, which is obviously good. But we guarantee you that you will at least recoup what you pay to join Boostly. And that is after 365 days. So if you don't make more money than what you've paid to join Boostly, we'll refund you. And on top of that, to apologize for wasting your time, I'll give you $200 of my own money. And as you can imagine, we don't do that often because our customers on average are bringing in $59,000 in revenue every year. So 59,000 times ROI, which is pretty cool. Who is Boostly for? So again, looking at everybody in here, I feel like this is not even an issue, but I always say Boostly is for people and is not for people. So Boostly is for those who understand consistency and time are the key to growth. I do not like working with people who want to get rich quick scheme. I think they're the scum of the earth. I hate people who promise them. I don't want to be associated with it. But consistency and time are the key to growth. That's what we've done at Boostly. That's what we've done at our family business. And I just love that everybody that we work with is on the same mindset. We understand that the long game is the key to long-term success. Obviously, we want to give you quick wins, but again, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. We don't like that. We love working with action takers who want to grow their business to be built on their terms. So we want people who want to grow their business who is not dictated by Airbnb, is not dictated by the rules of booking.com, is not dictated by the rules of third parties. You want to build your house on your own land. Who is it not for? So unfortunately, we're not for hobbyist hosts. So for those of you that maybe have a property, maybe it's not your main thing, maybe you're doing 3 or 4 other things in your career, it's like that thing that's on the corner, we're not for you. Now, again, if you're part of Lodgify, you're in this room, you're taking time out of your day, I feel like, you don't qualify. I mean, that's not even an issue. You're all here. You want to grow your business. We don't work with people who just want to rely on Airbnb for bookings. And that is obviously against everything that we talk about here. And we don't want to work with people who don't want to grow their business. Now, again, I don't think that's a problem for anybody in here. So here's the special offer. I said for everybody, doesn't matter where you are in the world. You could be in France, you could be in Spain, you could be in England, you could be in Hawaii, you can be in everywhere. The fun fact is that even though I've got a very British accent, the majority of our customers are in America, Canada, which is crazy. We are in every single state in America, apart from North Dakota. But I'm being very assured that there is nothing in North Dakota. So if you know someone that is in North Dakota, please send them my way. But we are all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, Bali, you name it, South Africa, you name it, we help. Because the things that we do can help anybody, anywhere. Doesn't matter if you've got 1 property or 120. So here's the special offer, okay? And this is really, really important. If you book a call with our team in the next 30 hours of watching this webinar, you will get an additional 30% discount off our one-time fee for joining, okay? Please make sure that you go to boostly.co.uk. Yes, Puerto Rico. Yeah, everybody. But make sure that you mention Lodgify and this webinar when making the booking. So go to boostly.co.uk/call. You're not committing to anything. You're just basically booking a call with our team so we can have a one-on-one chat, find out more about you, and make sure that we truly think that we can help you. But make sure that you mention Lodgify in the Calendly call when you book it. And also as well, make sure you do it in the next 30 hours. We've got some spots left for this week. We've got some spots for next week, but they do go quite fast when we do these webinars. And seeing that there's 197 people still with us, I think they're going to go quite quick. So it's boostly.co.uk/call. Do it in the next 30 hours. Make sure you mention Lodgify. Yes, Kansas. Yes, Puerto Rico. So I truly, truly want to say, firstly, thank you very much, Alberto Lodgify, for letting us do this. Thank you to you for turning up. Over 1,040 people registered. Obviously, you're going to get the replay of this. And please remember that if you want those bonus slides, to send me an Instagram message at Boostly UK. And I really hope that there is as many people as possible who have got something from this, who can just start by doing one thing in their business that they're going to be able to grow. And then hopefully we'll speak in a year's time and you'll be able to message me and go, yeah, Mark, I'm at 65% direct bookings. So thank you very much, Alberto. I am happy to go over any Q&A that you may have.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, it was amazing presentation as always. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. And yeah, I'm sure people will. You can just see the chat how people how engaged they were. I'm sure it was super useful for everyone, and I'm sure they got a lot of useful tips to boost the direct bookings. So before we go into the Q&A, just one quick last thing I mentioned at the beginning. We're having another webinar next week about taxes in the US with a tax consultant expert. So if you want to join that one, if you want to know how to do your taxes better in the US, I just left the link on the chat. And now we have a lot of questions, like a
Okay.
lot of them. So I'm not sure we can go over all of them,
Yep.
but maybe we can start by answering some of them. The ones that let me just sort them out. Okay. Some of them are about Airbnb specifically, OTAs, like different things. The first one says, I've been hearing that hosts connected to a channel manager have been switched to the 15% plan. Is that true? Adam, I don't know if you have any information about this, Mark. I will ask also our team, George, to make sure that we can get back to you with a proper answer about this
Yeah, so
specifically.
I can help with this one. So yeah, so basically, when you are in the Airbnb extranet, which is the back end, you've got two options. So number one, you can connect to a PMS, a channel manager, or you don't. Now, if you connect it, that basically puts you on what is called their business plan, which means that you're going to pay more commission. Now, what that means is that you either pay 14, 15%, but that means your guest doesn't pay the Airbnb service charge. So if you're doing the 3% commission model, your guest is paying the service fee. Now, my prediction is this, that look at how quickly Airbnb got rid of cleaning fees. All it took is one Twitter storm for Airbnb to remove that cleaning fee, and they've baked it now into the total price, right? It's only a matter of time until Airbnb remove the service charge for the guest. They've already started to have a filter, or they have prompts to your guests as they're on Airbnb when they're looking at a property that doesn't charge a service charge, aka you're paying 14, 15%. It literally will be a matter of time. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Obviously, that's my opinion. I'm not Brian Chesky, I'm not Airbnb, but I've just seen it. The writing is on the wall. And obviously, if you're going to connect a PMS to their platform, they're going to put you on that higher rate.
Thank you, Mark. Next question is kind of funny one. Say Booking.com finds out that you're having an affair with direct bookings. Will they file for a divorce?
Absolutely, absolutely not. So, um, as you can imagine, because of what I do and selling so many copies of this book, and I've been on stages and I'm talking about this and whatnot. Obviously, the OTAs get the attention, and I've had conversations with Airbnb, I've had conversations with Booking.com, I've had conversations with Expedia, and what I will say is this: every sensible online travel agent, they totally understand that their job is to get you that first booking, that first reservation, aka if your guest has never been to Hawaii, going back on that example, they've never been to Hawaii, they don't know anybody in Hawaii, none of their friends have been to Hawaii. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to a source that they know and trust, which is probably going to be Google, and Google will obviously point them to Airbnb, Booking.com, or Expedia, right? So the first time transaction will be via Booking.com. But as soon as that guest walks through your door, any sensible OTA knows realistically that the host, aka you, should be doing everything in their power to get the guest onto their land, aka email address, phone number, all that good stuff, right? What they bank on is that you, the host, doesn't know what you're doing. That is literally what they are banking on, right? So my job, my when I heard this, I was like, right, I'm going to show you OTAs. I'm going to show every host how to do this, how to do email, how to do social, how to collect the database, so that when it comes to it, that guest wants to come back to Hawaii, instead of going back to Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, they come direct to you. So, and Booking.com aren't going to divorce you. In fact, they understand it, but obviously they're not going to promote it because then it kills their model.
That's true. Thank you, Mark. There's a couple of quick questions also about Lodgify that I will take really quickly. Let me see. We have so many questions here that I kind of lost that one. So yeah, there's one question about Logify payments. Sorry, yeah, Logify payments is something that it's coming. It's already been released for the first batch of your customers, and it's going to be released for the rest of your customers throughout the first half of the year, and it's also coming to European customers on the second half of the year. Um, then there's another question about how can I improve the keyword ranking of my Logify website for SEO. Well, you can, for example, join Mark and Boozley, and they will give you some tips on how to improve that. And I also will drop a link to one of the webinars we did recently about SEO for your direct booking websites that you can also take a look at. And I will do it after the next question. There's so many questions that I need to handle. Maybe Mark, you can take this one. In the meantime, it's about PPC. So should I stop investing, spending on Google Ads on Google? That's a interesting
Moritz,
question.
I am a firm believer that you should not be spending money on any paid ads because, for the main reason being, is that when you do a paid ad, you need to have a resolution. And a resolution in an ideal world is a booking. Now, I don't know, Alberto, if Lodgify has this, but there is no way in most PMSs where you can track a conversion, which is otherwise known as a booking, in the PMSs. So it's really, really hard to justify it. You'll probably be spending money. Maybe somebody's come to you and they've gone, "Hey, I can get you top of Google," right? Or they've given you that spiel, where really they're going to get you paying ads, and you could be spending like $100 a month, and if you haven't got a way to track it, you are literally setting $100 on fire. In fact, just give me the money. I'll give it to Alberto. I'll just literally throw it out your window, because that is what pay ads is. And it's not just Google, that's TikTok, that's Facebook, that's Instagram, unless you've got a proper way of tracking it. Now, there are specific ways you can track it. We've got resolutions for it. Obviously, when you come and join Boostly, we show you all of them, because there's definitely ways to do it. But without even looking at the ads or looking at your analytics or looking at your anything, I would say yes. And the cool thing about this book is that there's 101 tips. Not one of them talks about paid ads, right? So this is my thing. And again, there's a lot of people out there who disagree with me, who try and come at me for it. But again, I've been there, I've done it, I've bought the t-shirt, I've seen it time and time and time again with over 2,000 people. Unless you've got specific ways of tracking it and monitoring, no, it's not for you.
Thank you, Mark. The next one, I can also take this one, is how can we change and control the photos shown on Google Vacation Rentals? They are not updated with my PMS Logify. Well, unfortunately, when dealing with Google, we've talked a lot about OTAs and their algorithms, but Google is also quite a picky one. So unfortunately, the pictures that you have in Lodgify, we send them every 24 hours to Google Vacation Rental. But eventually, with almost everything going on with Google, they decide which pictures to show and in what order. For example,
Mhm.
two people doing a Google Vacation Rental search in the same town might get from different computers, might even get different pictures. So unfortunately, it's up to the Google algorithm to decide which pictures to take. We just make sure that the feed is always updated. We send every change every day. But yeah, in this case, there's not much we can do there.
I've got something to add on to that, and I've got some breaking little sneaky news. So I know somebody within Google, and that is going to change very soon. Unfortunately, with Google, and obviously Alberto and Logify will know this, is that when they want to implement something, it has to go through so many barriers and so many hurdles to become a thing, because it's such a Goliath of a company, but it's very hard to implement. But I know what they want to do. If anybody's ever been listed on Google My Business, which is obviously where so many hosts used to be in the day before they scrapped that and moved everybody to Google Vacation Rental, you knew that you could do that manually. And what they want to do is they want to give that power back. But again, it is definitely on their roadmap. I know they want to do it because it is such a big bugbear. But again, you're just going to have to wait at some point this year. Fingers crossed.
Yep, that's great to know. And talking about Google, my business, Google Maps, there was a couple of questions about these, and not specifically just my business, but yeah, everything is connected. It's a good source, but basically the comment here from Suzanne is like, I have no reviews there, and not sure how it works. In the end, if you want reviews on Google, you have to work for those reviews on Google. It's not like you can actually import the direct reviews, but now they also have a little section where they take reviews from other sites. But yeah, feel free to add anything to that, Mark. But if you really want the reviews on your Google My Business profile only on the top, you need to work and ask for those reviews separately.
Yeah, I'm just going to just pivot very quickly to a couple of. There's three questions that have come in the chat, and they've all been on the same topic, which is insurance. Now,
Mhm.
obviously, insurance in air cover is great, right? You get a booking on Airbnb. If something goes wrong, you got air cover to protect your back. Now, you've got to remember, air cover is like Airbnb smart pricing, right? There's a reason why so many people use Price Labs or Wheelhouse is because nobody trusts the Airbnb pricing. We should do the same with air cover. Air cover is designed to protect one company and one company only, and that's Airbnb. There are so many tools out there like Truvi and Safely, you name it. There are so many protections out there that will cover you instead of having to rely on air cover. Nothing's perfect, nothing's 100%, but there are so many tools that are out there, and so many of them, I assume, will link and integrate in with Lodgify. That again, it comes back to the tech stack. This is the beauty of having a PMS. This is the beauty of having Lodgify, is that once you've got that base, you can then connect it to all of these things. And Truvi, which used to be called Superhog, that's probably the go-to, probably the one that's most recommended. Again, it's so much better than having to rely, because then with a direct booking, you know you've got the safety and the security and the verification to knowing who is coming and staying at your property. So I just wanted to very quickly pivot to that one because three questions just came in one by one.
Yeah, that's thank you, Mark. It's actually very interesting. Actually, like you mentioned, we integrate with Truvi, like previously known as Superhawk, and there are also other companies out there that are specifically designed to be short-term rental insurances. I just left a link to our integrations page where you can also take a look at them. I think we're actually over time, 12 minutes. I think we cover most of the questions. I don't know, Mark, if you spotted one that you wanted specifically to answer.
No,
Um,
I think we're good. So somebody did say, how many Boostly customers get to 65% direct bookings? Well, that is like a very big question to ask, and the simple reason is that everybody who joins is at different levels of knowledge bases, at different levels of the business, and some of them are already at 65% direct bookings. Our aim is to get everybody there, right? And our guarantee is that we guarantee that you will get a return of what you invest to pay to be a part of Boostly. If not, I'll give you money back and more. My goal is to get you to 65%. My goal is maybe to get you higher. All right. But the main thing is that 65% is just a number to say, I want over 50% of your bookings coming in. So for every 10 bookings that come in, at least five of them are coming direct. Because my worry is, and there's a lot of people in here where it's of every 10 bookings, 10 are in the Airbnb bucket. And all that has to happen is your bucket gets kicked over and knocked out and you've lost your business. And unfortunately, I see that a lot. And I'd much rather you come to me with, maybe a 30, where we can definitely work with that and get you better. But I don't want people coming to us where they've literally lost everything. Unfortunately, it happens. We can help definitely, but please do go ahead and book that call. Um, if there's any questions that I haven't been able to answer, remember it's Instagram.com/Boostly UK. Instagram.com. I'll put it in the chat. Please come and send me a message. If you want those free bonus tips, and I've already had about 20 messages, just send me the word webinar. Just say webinar, and I'll come at it tomorrow. I'll get the kids off to school. I'll pour a big pot of coffee, and I'll just reply and get everybody those links.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Mark, again, and thank you everyone for coming. Over 1,000 people registered. Around 300 people connected at some point in the webinar. That's amazing to see how many people, and also the engagement in the chat. It's been a true pleasure having you here, Mark. You're always welcome to join our webinars. We're always happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, see you in London in next week actually.
Yeah.
So if any of you are actually visiting the Short Stay Summit event, both Mark and myself will be speaking at different panels. So just pop by our Lodgify stand and we'll be happy to have a coffee or a chat with you. And yeah, I think we can wrap it up now. Thanks again everyone, and see you next time.